Hello everyone! Hi guys, how are you? In this video I want to share my biggest scalp in online chess. Well, joint best. One could argue that I have a better one, but this game was played in 2010 on the ICC server, the Internet Chess Club, and it was a 3-minute game. And with the white pieces, they handle Depressnyak, and that is the handle of Alexander Grischuk, the 3-time Blitz world champion. So yeah, it feels pretty nice to have a victory under your belt against a 3-time world champion. And I managed this in this game. I played under my handle Xzibit, which was inspired by the rapper Xzibit. Bought his first album, Paparazzi, which was, I think, released in 1996. 1996, dysfunctional member of the alcoholic family. Huh, it's Xzibit, bring it alive one time. But yeah, I bought it in 1997, I think, and then I opened my ICC account for the first time, and I've had the Xzibit username ever since, which then somehow migrated into Xzibit, just so that I don't, you know, copy the name completely. But okay, Grischuk opened with knight to f3, and I played g6. I can't remember what I wanted to play at the time, but he played d4 after bishop g7, e4, and d6. At the time, I played a lot of modern, especially against e4, and that's kind of what we have here. But I didn't play as much King's Indian, and after c4 I've actually been tricked into a King's Indian, which I didn't necessarily want to play, but after this I'm forced to. So we have mainline King's Indian with knight f6, knight c3, castles, and bishop e2. All mainline stuff, and now the main move, pawn to e5. White castles. Taking on e5 is not popular, as black will regain the pawn with tactics, with the bishop on g7 and the knight opening up some tactics over there, but that's an opening discussion. And here I played e takes d4, which is sort of the only line that I played against this, more or less. I played some knight a6 as well, but e takes d4, the first time I played the King's Indian really in a serious game, it was against Grandmaster Sergei Ivanov. Interesting game where I got my chances and I missed mate. And in the same tournament I managed to draw with the black pieces against Grandmaster Stefan Bromberger. So some good results in this line, although it's a bit tricky. So rook e8, pressure on e4, Grischuk protected the pawn. I played c6, king h1. This is the normal move. White wants to preempt any tactics or funny business on this diagonal. Knight b to d7, bishop g5. I kick the bishop, and then I play a5. And here actually there is a very tricky and devious trap. Now Grischuk played queen c2, but if White plays queen to d2, there are many victims of this trap. And here black can play knight takes e4, because we're attacking the queen, so we can unpin the knight safely. If bishop takes on d8, we simply take the queen, we're up the pawn, and yeah, with a good position, we're threatening 3 pieces, so White is not going to survive this. So knight takes e4 looks more natural, but then there's queen takes h4. Black is up a pawn, and White's problem is he can't regain the pawn here because of bishop e5. And this trick I managed to catch some strong grandmasters in online, and I learned this playing next to my teammate who had the white pieces and fell for this trick against Faruk Tahiri from Sweden, who is also my good friend. Later became my teammate, actually. No, I got it wrong. He was playing on my team and inflicted it on my opponent. Or our opponent. So, let's get away from the story. But Grischuk went with Queen C2. So I was like, oh, it was probably unlikely that the 3-time World Blitz champion and the player as strong as Grischuk was going to fall for this. But okay, now I had to continue. Knight C5, Knight B3, offering the exchange of knights, which I took. Now Queen C7. I think all in all, I mean, Black's position is quite solid, but White with the space advantage is for choice. So Rook after D1 from Grischuk. I retreated my knight. I wanted to put it on C5 and open for the bishop. He played Rook D2, preparing to pressure this pawn. Knight C5 nonetheless. And now he attacks his knight with B4. I have to retreat, but now he has to do something. Or eventually about this tension here. I can't take right away, but eventually he has to do something, and he went for B5 immediately. Now Knight E5, Rook A to D1, pressure on this guy, so now I'm getting a bit passive, but I'm still solid. And now I can think about rerouting this knight to probably a slightly nicer square. If F4, yeah, I can reroute the knight. I can think about Knight G4. All in all, White is better, but nothing too critical. Grischuk played H3, which probably signals he wants to play F4. I played Bishop E6, attacking this, so B3. And now, yeah, my star move of the game. If I don't find this move, then I'm probably in a lot of trouble because F4 is coming, and F4 will follow F5 when my bishop is trapped. So what to do? Here I found a nice move. I played A4, which I think is an X clan. Thing is, if B takes A4, then I've undermined the C4 pawn, and I can take on C4. And I more or less solved my problems. Pieces have good squares, equal material. You can also take with a knight, but here I managed to calculate that I can take on B5, and he can't take back because I take on C2, and then this beautiful skewer just hitting everything. So he can't really take. And he played F4. But then I take on B3, Queen takes B3, and on Knight D7. And now there's no Queen on C2, so there's no F5 move. And also I have an intermediate move with my knight to play Knight C5 anyway, hitting the Queen. He played Queen back to C2, and I played Knight C5. He nonetheless played F5 here. I have to move my bishop, but this also gives me nice control over this E5 square. And I think my dream is to get a knight here. He took on G6, and now a probable blunder by Grischuk. He must have overlooked my move. He played E5, and you know it's hitting D6. It's also opening up for the queen, but my bishop that just retreated comes back, and that's a kind of a blunder that happens a lot. That, you know, something that went in one direction that goes back in the other direction. You tend to miss it. You tend to miss backwards moves and pieces going back from where they came from. So after this, I'm just better now. He plays Queen B2, and I took the pawn on E5. So now I'm just up a pawn, and my pieces are actually quite good, and his aren't that good. I mean, this battery on the D file, it's not doing anything. I mean, there are no squares to enter my position. I've got everything under control here. This bishop is not too great. I mean, it's hemmed in by its own pawns here. Doesn't have a lot of scope. So white should be better. Black should be better here. He played bishop g4, trying to get rid of this bad bishop, but I didn't mind taking. I took, and now queen c8, and it's not so easy to protect this pawn. So I'm gonna win it. Queen takes g4, and we could say that I'm just basically winning now. This is I'm hitting this as well. I'm hitting this. So what to do? He went bishop h2, and I just stayed greedy. I took the material. Queen takes c4, took on c6, and I'm up 3 pawns, and he doesn't have a lot of play. But I'm playing against a 3-time World Blitz champion, and naturally I was quite nervous here. But let's see what happened. Queen b3, queen d2. But I remember that he hits my queen here. I didn't really try to improve the position too much. Just trying to keep my position solid. I'm up 3 pawns. I don't really have to do anything. That can often be important in Blitz, that just keep the position, play solid moves, put my knight on d3, I centralize my rooks. And I mean, he's just probing. He was just trying to make fast moves here, and now I win the exchange. Now I'm totally winning. Let's see a few more moves. Queen a7, rook d7, hitting the queen, and bishop f5. So I didn't really try to do anything here. I actually had a time match here, and I was trying to keep it, but Grischuk was moving like ridiculously fast, so he was closing in on me. So let's just quickly go through some moves here, because it's more or less shuffling, but I managed to get a winning position, and I'm trying to keep that. Managed to do that. I'm off the exchange, but nothing really big has happened. Hitting the queen, and here I had about 7 seconds versus 2 to 3 seconds for Grischuk. So in what follows there will be some pre-move blunders. So I played e3 here, panicking a bit, but he had only 2 point something seconds, so he had the pre-move, which explains why I didn't take my rook. And here he had about 1 second left, so I got lucky. This was a panicky move. I was panicking with my clock ticking as well, and he played queen a6, which was a pre-move. He could have played queen f7, which was mate in 4, but he probably didn't have enough time to execute it, as after my move queen h5 his flag fell and I won the game. So that's my joint biggest scalp in online chess in 2010, and I will probably make a video on my other scalp, which was quite satisfying as well. But yeah, I mean, having a YouTube channel is in a way showing off for putting yourself out there, so I don't mind bragging a little bit. I mean, it was a good win, and it's also for me just to have something to remember it by. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye.